Hi everyone, my name is Abby Caslin. I personally am an aerospace engineer. I'm a fourth year here at Virginia Tech on a 5-year track. And I'll go into a little bit more later, but basically last semester in the spring, I studied abroad over in Hamburg, Germany through a program that we have. So I'll go into that a little bit as well. But relating to the basics of aerospace, the reason that aerospace and ocean are in the same department, if you think about it, air and water actually act very similarly. High speeds, if you're looking more at the aerodynamic side of it, propulsion side of it, they both kind of have that fluid flow nature to it. So that's why they're in the same department, because there is a lot of overlap in the classes, in the basic classes that we take. So going into courses your sophomore year, hopefully once you're accepted into the program, you'll take more of you'll take your intro to aero or intro to ocean class. And then you'll also take, your math classes that you need. So differential equations, multivariable calculus, physics 2, some of those basic class. And then within the department, you'll actually have more of a intro to electronics class with an aero focus, which is really great for different labs that you do later on. So it's a lot of those types of classes that is a base that you can expand on once you go into your concentration. So different things like thin-walled structures, the list goes on. So basically, on the aerospace side, and then I'll touch on the ocean side after that, you can see here on the right side a list of some of those concentrations that are offered. So I'm personally more in that flight dynamics and controls track. So how it works is there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 different tracks that you can choose from. And they're different concentrations. So by the time you graduate, you have basically, think about it as 6 electives that are just blank on the course check sheet that you get to fill in. So with each concentration, you have one concentration that you need to fulfill completely. So you'll take 3 classes in one concentration, and then the other 3 you can pick from, space or hydrodynamics or naval or whatever you would like. So that's a lot of fun. I'm personally taking intro to space weather this semester, so that's going to be one of my extra electives on the side. And then relating to ocean engineering, those same sort of basic concentrations are offered, as you can see here. It's just more with that ocean point of view, if that makes sense. So it's a really, really great program for ocean as well. Going into the courses side, you'll take things like oceanography, wave mechanics, marine propulsion instead of more like the aero propulsion. And aerospace students, instead of oceanography, will take astromechanics, and that was such a fun class. But anyways, so relating to design teams and different opportunities that are available at Virginia Tech, we have a few really awesome ones that are in our department. So I'll start with ocean. So in the top right picture there is the sailboat team. So there's another one that's the human power submarine. That one's really cool. You can actually get scuba certified as you're testing your submarine. So that's a really cool thing to go check out as well. On the page before this, there's one called Design, Build, Fly for aerospace. That's shown in the bottom right corner. It's a really, really cool project. Some of my friends there are working on, what was that, 2000, I think it was 2018's national competition plane that we took. And it's a really great opportunity. Again, if you haven't heard it before, I really, really recommend getting on design team. It gives you that hands-on experience. There's a few other ones if you're interested in the space side, like rocketry, orbital launch, VT, where you actually launch it into lower Earth orbit. In the bottom left, you'll see one of my friends in a prop plane. But relating to professional organizations, we have one called the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, so AIAA. And every semester, AIAA takes out a group of students and we go gliding in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So that's a really fun time as well. And then top right, you'll see our drone cage that you'll probably use. Hopefully you could get to use in your freshman engineering course as well. So related to study abroad, like I mentioned before, we have we have an exchange program set up with a university in Germany, in Hamburg, Germany. And so we'll send over, call it 6 students, in the spring. So last semester I was one of 6 students. And then in the fall, they'll send over 6 students from Germany here. So it's a really great exchange program. And they've worked out all the classes so that it stays on your, 4-year track. So you're not having to set back a 5th year like I was. So they've officially, converted all of that, as long as you're on top of, meeting with your advisor and letting them know that you're interested in that. It's a really great opportunity. Another one, my friend went to Australia actually, and in Sydney, and was able to do the same thing, so do that study abroad on a 4-year track as well. So you can really kind of take aero anywhere. Relating to companies, I personally worked at Lockheed Martin this past winter. I did a winternship, I call it, but before I went to study abroad. But there's so many different, within each concentration, you can take it in so many different ways. If you are interested in aero or space engineering, you can also have but like maybe you don't want to have it as a full major. There's a minor called naval engineering, and that's open to all majors, and you're able to take a look at the different, equipment that's used in the Navy, different, planes and boats and things like that. My favorite part of aerospace has definitely been the students and the staff. So relating to the students, I can't even tell you how many times I went to the library and saw someone in my class, didn't really know their name because, it's not too big of a major, but you don't get to talk to every single person, in class. So I would just walk over and say, hey, are you working on, computational methods homework or something like that? And we'd work together and learn our names that way. So it is a really big kind of community feeling because, we're all in the same boat. And then the professors are really, really, really passionate about what they do. Their research is really, really cool. We have some of the best equipment, like our wind tunnel from NASA has been really, really cool to work with this semester. So you can look forward to doing that in your junior lab for an experiment, which is really fun to go check out as well. So yeah, I'll take some questions.
We often hear that the job market for AOE is a difficult one. How was job placement for the major?
Yeah, so I can't remember the exact percentage off the top of my head, but basically it is. I love Virginia Tech because, for another reason, because we are very well renowned in the aerospace world. We have some of the best professors and also such a great partnership with different companies like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and a few others. And for me personally, I had, going to job fairs, going to Expo. There's a few different aerospace specific career fairs that we have. And so going to things like that, it is difficult, but I do really think that the market out there is pretty, I think it is pretty stable. Most of my friends who have graduated in the past, who haven't gone, because, there is a percentage that goes to getting their master's, PhD, and then there's some that go into, the industry side of it. And I personally haven't had any friends who've had any issues. Maybe you'll get one job offer instead of 2 or 3, like some other majors, but it's still definitely a really, really good message to send that, hey, I'm representing Virginia Tech. I remember I had a few conversations where as soon as I found out I was a Hokie, I heard 3 other go Hokies, in the vicinity that I was in. So it's definitely very promising to hear that, especially once you're in the internship and things like that.
Are the classes semester specific, or can I take some next year fall classes this spring?
Relating to the classes, the ones that you'll take sophomore year are mostly semester specific. Not all of them are. So your math courses, your multivariable calculus, your differential equations, the physics too, those are not semester specific, but your courses like thin-walled structures, system dynamics and control, some of those are more semester specific because some of them are a prereq to or a co-req of different ones. So there's a course check sheet online on the website that you can go check out as well, and that'll show you the different courses that are required and then when they're offered, and then there's also a timetable of classes that'll show which semester they'll actually be offered by which professor.
How did you decide to be in this major?
So I personally actually came to Virginia Tech not knowing which type of engineering I wanted to do. It wasn't until actually 2 hours before the deadline that I really just decided on aerospace and ocean engineering as my department. And so I originally thought about civil engineering, and then I went to mechanical because I was like, maybe that's more broad, and I am interested in other aspects besides just the environmental side of it. And then I realized I have had an underlying hobby, love, passion for space and, planes throughout my life. So I was like, I would just want to do something that I love. And I truly did not know anything about, it is a tough major, but I didn't know really how hard it was. And I do like giving myself a challenge. So I was kind of ready for it. But, once I'm in the major, it's really not, it is difficult. It is a lot of work, but it's also totally doable. You do get some really good friends in the major that'll really come around and help you out if you need it and things like that. So I think it's a really good program, and I wouldn't be too afraid about the challenge part of it.
What type of person would you recommend for this program?
So I would definitely recommend someone who's does have that technical ability, so does have the ability to think about those, mathematical, theoretical concepts, and does enjoy, maybe figuring out the theory side of it, as well as maybe piecing together what that means in terms of, the actual plane or ship or, spacecraft itself. So that's really good. Someone who's able to ask questions. So it's always, 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 always so helpful to ask the professors questions in class, out of class. They're really great about getting back to you and trying to help you out and trying to help you understand the actual concepts and the uses of that in industry and in research. And lastly, someone who is, up for the challenge. So is able to kind of see that, maybe it's hard right now. Maybe, you're having a really rough test week, but, this is what you love to do. And, you do see the end goal. And through your internships, hopefully in co-ops, you'll be able to see what the industry looks like, or even through your research, what continuing that research looks like. So someone who's definitely up for the challenge.
What minors pair well with these majors?
Yeah, so you can double in aerospace and ocean as, a double major basically, since there's a lot of overlap. You can also, in aerospace engineering, you can also do different types of engineering like the naval I mentioned before. You can do, my friend is doing a aerospace engineering major with a CS minor, and that is very, very, very attractive to industry. I can tell you from experience, but if you think about technology, these days and, the future, you think about a lot of the different softwares, programs, things like that. So it is very valuable to have that sort of CS background. It is a difficult minor to tack on to aerospace or ocean, whichever you would like to go into, but you can take it in a lot of different directions, not just, like cybersecurity or things, something like that.
So is there anything else you'd like to add on for either major?
Sure. Again, I do hope to see some of you next year. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to me. There's a lot of different fun facts throughout the AOE department. The list goes on. I wish I had time to tell you guys all about it, and all the professors are so much fun. Just advice moving forward, trust your gut. That's what I did, and there's been tough times where I'm, maybe regretting it, but in the end, I'm definitely happy with what I'm doing. And if you have any questions with, how that relates to industry versus college, Virginia Tech is a little bit more theory-based instead of that practical use-based. So if you have any more questions on what that really means, go ahead and let me know. But yeah, thanks for listening to me, you guys. Great to meet you.
Thank you, Abby.